Hello, everyone. My name is Zachary Takacs. I'm a Native American artist, writer, and animator, born and raised in Arizona, and I'm currently a junior in the ASU animation program. For today, during my artist talk, I'm going to talk about a couple of my pieces and the stories that went into making all of those. Now, not the stories about me making them. No, that's a much different conversation, but the stories that I wrote and designed for them, whether it be illustration and digital art or word that I pen, um, it's always about the story. In the entertainment industry, that's also about story. It's the driving force behind a lot of our favorite shows today. At least they are for my favorite shows. And part of what I want to incorporate into all of my work is a story that someone can latch onto, whether it be something that's just a great hook and gets you in, or something that's been thought out much further, which happens for a lot of the things that I create. Either way, if you will indulge me, come on, let's take a trip. Let's get invested in a couple of things, hopefully. So for the first piece, it is called The Traveler. It was created for the Elementary Animation coloring book, and I designed a bit of a tarot card idea. Part of it was, let's use one of my favorite things to draw, a door, because it's like a symbol for change. You're passing from one side to the other. And the fun, whimsical idea of the forest. Always that question in my mind has been, what lies beyond the wood line? And maybe it's this. Maybe your compass has pointed you in this direction and you found yourself staring down a weird looking door with personifications of death and life staring right back at you. And part of the one thing that I really adore about this piece is that since it is a coloring book, it's the audience's interpretation to color what they're coming from, and in the intended stained glass in the middle of that door, what they're going to. We're going to travel to another door, but a very similar door, as it also features a compass. This was created for a bit of a project that I've been working on. I shouldn't say a bit of a project, it's been 5 years, but accompanying with this door, it does say, I wonder what awaits on the other side. And this door is particularly marked 13. The story that I've been working on called The Grove, it takes place in essentially a weird version of Payson and just a lot of metropolitan Arizona, but still that small town feel, where a door magically appears one day, and on the other side is the beautiful, enchanting, destructive little dimension called The Grove. Um, and this doorway is the pathway to both sides, letting both things into their world. Without going too far into it, because I could talk about that forever, we're going to talk about Burn. It's a comic book that I created following our character who's on the cover here, Salem Quill, and their magical abilities that they burn to create manifestations of either small flowers, big explosions, or the spectral tendrils and stuff that allow them to float and fly around. Um, and then I think the other part that I really just want to get to is the two pages that I have here. Part of Salem's story is traveling from the darker guiding, or from the lighter points of their life into the darker bits. We open up in our first page on the metropolitan Halcyon City, where heroes are born, made, and then they recreate that process over and over again for centuries. But off in the far distance, so far away, in fact, that this city that is so hustle and bustle and explosion ridden in the distance. And we find Salem there, pondering whether or not they're going to wake up the next day. And as they fall into the darkness, they awake in a much darker, completely dark place with floating clocks, shattered glass everywhere, a mirror staring back at them, not their reflection, but a being that happens to know who they are and seems to just be lying in wait for them to come smash the rest of that mirror. It's a rather tricksy little tale of this character, Salem, trying to figure out who they are. They don't have a team. They are honestly kind of just alone in this world. And they're trying to figure out themselves. And so much I could say, but not enough time, unfortunately. Maybe when the full book is released, you should check it out. Anyways, we're going to switch to a completely different story. I hope that wasn't too jarring for you. But we're gonna turn the page, and now we're here to another dystopia. I really like making dystopias. I mean, I don't know. I make things and then they break, and then I just let them sit there, and then they become this. But anyways, this is character artwork for one of the main characters of the Council of the Regent Assembly of Tarangal, which is the funky little country that has taken magic not as this force to be uh, honored, but as a force to be manipulated and used to make their machines work. Like I said, Lydia over here is a member of their Regent Assembly, essentially their government, but she's very much more a Lara Croft adventurous type character who's been obsessed with dead gods and the mysteries of that for a much longer time than a very diplomat. But she does have these two outfits that represent these two sides of her, and her designation color is purple. The Regent Assembly works like a rainbow with the added color of black. All of their members have some sort of color that identifies who they are. And in fact, we have black right here. His name is Albert Beale. At least that his color designation is black. And he's another member of the Regent Assembly. You can see two of his outfits here, one for his adventuring and one for his time as a diplomat. But nevertheless has this well-dressed attire and fancy gloves that allow him to cast powerful magic that can take him anywhere he wants and bring anything he wants to him. For this last little bit here, we have some actual animation. This here is a story, or at least a snippet from a story called Little Caesar. It was a project I did for the 24-hour animation challenge in 2022. And this is just the little 3-second clip that I created for it. While I didn't create the characters or a lot of the background, I just kind of made it move. I was part of the full development of what this world is like. You can kind of see it a little bit that it's another dystopia, but this time overgrown, and their animals that now exist here have become the appliances that humans once used in their world. And so this little thing right here that we have on screen, his name's Linus. He's our lamp giraffe, and the mouse you saw earlier, who's run off screen with a pizza, is Caesar himself, a little computer mouse. And so for our last bit of animation work here, we have my kind of concept for the Grove, this compass once again, because I love compasses, and our untitled character here getting stuck up by a giant monster, and now that monster is wanting something from him. Who knows what that is? I guess just as the story develops and more can be told, there's more to see always. Here's some contact information for me, but I think the part that I really want to leave you all here with is I hope that you saw that there's stories in all of these pieces that I've made. You probably recognize a lot of the stories that you made in your pieces, but that's where I want to be. I want to be in those stories, not as a character. That, I mean, that's its own level of thing, but I want to be in the room making those decisions about what the heck is going to happen. You can start, I have so many ideas that start, but it's always the joy of getting to see them follow through. And at least that right now, I'm throwing a lot of lines out there, seeing what's gonna catch. And at least all the pieces that I showed you here are stories that I am continuing, stories that are, oh my goodness, there's lines that go everywhere for them, and lots of spreadsheets, lots of spreadsheets. But it's just, again, a reiteration of story. It's the key. It is the thing that you can put into the lock of the door and walk through. It's the piece that what you're leaving behind the world of reality, stepping through to some sort of fantasy. Doesn't matter if it's a dystopia or utopia, doesn't matter if it's sci-fi, fantasy, superheroes. You've walked through the door, open to hearing another story. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you have a good day.